Back talking hoops now with our Hoops Insider from Hogville.net, Kevin McPherson. Kevin, let's begin with the obvious. Mason Jones, big announcement this past week. He is turning pro.
Yeah, and you look at the season. We've talked about it in the last show that Mason Jones pretty much put on the resume everything he could, especially from an offensive standpoint. When you look at the 9 30-point games, a couple of 40-point games, those put him in elite company in the SEC, not just at Arkansas, but a guy that led the nation in free throws made, free throws attempted, open court scoring or transition scoring. So he was a national leader, led the SEC in scoring at 22 points per game. We know he's the first Arkansas player to do that since the Razorbacks joined the SEC. So you start looking down the list of accomplishments. Ended up being co-SEC Player of the Year, honorable mention All-American. These are the kind of things you can build on and use as a launching pad for the next level. Now, there aren't any big boards that I've seen really that have Mason Jones in the top 60, and there are 60 picks every year in the NBA draft between rounds 1 and 2, 30 picks each in those. So, we've got to keep an eye on the fact that everything's stopped right now, too, because of the COVID-19 virus concerns. There is no travel to work out for teams or do interviews. Some of the combines and agent workouts that would have been coming up, all that's on hold for now. So we got to see, what NBA scouts are able to do with film. If they're going off film alone, Mason Jones is gonna help himself. The defensive end of the floor maybe was an area that he could have been a little better at. But a guy that, again, when you look at all the numbers, I think he's going to get a chance. If he doesn't get drafted, Drew, he's still going to have a chance to work his way maybe onto a summer league team if they still have a summer league. We know Daryl Macon a few years ago, the former Razorback guard, ended up getting a 2-way contract, undrafted guy, but an undrafted free agent contract because of the work he did in the summer league. So there's opportunities there. Obviously, the NBA G League. So there's several ways for Mason Jones to turn as he looks at the next level. Now, when he made his announcement, he did not clarify whether or not he was leaving any wiggle room to come back to school. He didn't say either way, but the way it was worded, it was almost a farewell. So I'll be surprised if he doesn't just go ahead and move forward at this time.
Let's go 30 seconds on Jaylen Harris. Was this expected for you, him transferring out of Arkansas, second on the team in assists this past season?
I did expect it. His role was reduced. He was brought in by the previous coaching staff, started all 34 games in his sophomore season, was one of the leaders in the SEC, and not only in assists at over 5.5 a game, but assists to turnovers. But the role was diminished this year, only 5 starts. And a guy, when you looked at Arkansas's strength in the team, it was the 5-man rotation and the guard rotation, and he was the 5th man in that. So not surprised at all. And, Jaylen Harris, I think all Hog fans hope that he lands at a place that he has a strong senior season, as long as it's not in the SEC, probably.
Jaylyn Williams, big man, he is committed to the Hogs and really became more and more of a focal point this season. The way he handled that and then became Gatorade Player of the Year, what about Jaylyn?
Yeah, Gatorade Player of the Year, that was announced midweek this week, and 6'10", skilled forward center, volume rebounder, one of the best rebounders in the country, I think, coming out of the high school ranks. But I called him a walking 20-10 hammer. Seems like every night he was scoring 20 points and getting 10 rebounds. A well-deserved honor for Jaylyn Williams as Arkansas Gatorade Player of the Year.
About 2 minutes left here, Kevin. Let's talk about 2 grad transfers, Justin Turner and Jordan Brunner, each with Arkansas in their top 6. Let's start with Turner. This is a guy from Bowling Green, one of the hottest names in the portal right now. I believe Missouri is also one of the teams interested.
Yes, he's a 6'4" guard out of the Detroit area, led Bowling Green in scoring at almost 19 points a game, over 4.5 rebounds. But Missouri, Louisville, Marquette, Xavier, and Iowa State round out that list. So, those are some solid high major programs that are in on him. There are a lot more that wanted him, but a guy that when you start talking about Mason Jones departing and then Justin Turner, both of those things happened on Friday. Mason Jones announces, and then Justin Turner includes Arkansas in his final 6 early in the day Friday. So that may not be a coincidence. We'll see how Eric Musselman and the Razorbacks do as he pairs that list down.
Okay, Brunner, 6'9" kid out of Yale. Talk about the upside and what he could bring to Arkansas.
Oh, he's long. He can shoot the ball a little bit, averaged over about a little over 1 made threes per game. But here's a guy that averaged 11 points, over 9 rebounds, averaged about 4 assists and almost 2 blocks a game. So he's versatile. And you start talking about Eric Musselman in 2-man game, pick and pop, pick and roll, a guy that's going to crash the glass, something Arkansas did not have a volume rebounder. Last place in the SEC this past season in rebounding. So a guy like this can help in many ways. And let's look at this list of schools: Louisville, Gonzaga, Baylor, Alabama, and Maryland. Arkansas is in really great company when you look at that list of schools that he's narrowed it down to.
About 30 seconds to close here. I want to get your take on this, Kevin. the number of names that have been interested in Arkansas that are now in the portal, and then vice versa, what Arkansas is doing in terms of reaching out, because it just seems more and more like the way Musselman's able to market this program, it just continues to be a program that's more and more visible, and then a byproduct of that is all these guys interested in Arkansas in the portal.
Yeah, about 30 players that we know of that they've contacted, right around that 30 mark so far. And if you look at these lists of guys that are really highly coveted and considered to be some of the top transfers, when anytime Arkansas's name's included on these lists of either made contact or the players have pared it down, Arkansas's in their final, that helps Arkansas. That's continued branding and marketing, and Eric Musselman gets that. He knows he's not going to get all of them. You cast a wide net, and you figure out what you need. I mean, we know we came in, hit the ground running a year ago, and ended up landing 5 college transfers. That rounded out his entire recruiting class last year.
Yeah, absolutely. And a season cut short, despite the fact Arkansas was 20-12 in Muss's first year at the helm. Again, Arkansas team that was very undersized and yet still meets the 20-win mark this season under Eric Musselman. Kevin McPherson, Hogville.net. Kevin, thanks very much.